Hey everybody, it's Last Robokai here, and it's time for some more Fate Samurai Remnant New Game Plus. I am joined by Cool Guy, and we are doing what I sort of said was going to be a main feature of New Game Plus. We're going to be starting to see the new scenes that relate to the potential third ending that we can unlock if we choose. And also, we're going to be going down the path we didn't choose when we first sort of had to try and sort out what happened with Kaya when she was kidnapped. And so, for that reason, you're going to see a bit more of the stuff that that I normally have been just like mass snipping out, and we're going to be sort of jumping around a fair bit across a lot of different scenes. So I'll try and sort of give everyone an idea of where we are exactly at this point in time.
I know I'm going to need a refresher on exactly what actions are like were presented to us, even because like Kaya's entire kidnapping thing is a little bit of a blur to me right now. So fortunately, I'm everybody's useful idiot.
So let's get stuck straight in. We're gonna start off just doing a couple of the
Oh yeah, big boys.
The big boys. And that gives me a chance to sort of remind you, I guess, about everything that happened with Kaya. Although, honestly, we can probably wait until we get there. But, because there is actually a few events that'll be occurring that relate to... best way to put it is relates to, while the pursuit of Assassin was going on, Saber starts noticing things about Iori. So that'll be the theme of that one. I'm not sure what this guy's new moves are. I'm
Honestly,
sure he has. It's probably that.
I was just commenting to myself because normally I think I don't think that much of repost mechanics precisely because it encourages you to just sort of stand there and wait for it the way you just did. And I think that's a really weird way to play a lot of games. But damn, it really hits right when you're samurai themed. Like that is that is just absolutely on point.
I think that's why a lot of people really like Sekiro as well, because, like, I think if you did that in a game where you were, like, a knight in armor, I don't think it'd hit quite as well if you were, like,
Dark
a
Souls.
ninja.
Like all of Dark Souls!
Although, like, a lot of people have been modding in Sekiro mechanics into, like, Dark Souls and Elden Ring and things like that,
right.
So I think a few people got addicted to parrying a little bit much.
I won't continue this line of thought simply because everybody I think is clear on the fact that the way that parry mechanics are implemented in Dark Souls and has mostly become the industry trope namer. I think it's just stupid as hell. Ridiculous. I think it's dumb.
The man is a known parry hater.
Just known parry hater, and I am not sorry for being it. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
and
I think I was just gonna say, I think the new heavy attack this guy does is one of those red charge attacks, because he definitely sort of starts to ominously walk forwards with his eye glowing when he goes to do it. And I really haven't seen him do anything else, so that might just be where they added the new move. Because some of them do have new... Oh, it looks like we're putting this man in the washing machine again.
The fact that his stagger, it
keeps going out of reach. It's annoying.
Yeah, the fact that his stagger makes him flip backward is one of the funniest goddamn things ever. It doesn't really show up with a lot of the normal one-eyed Oni because they're sort of blink and you miss them in general. They, for whatever reason, for as big as they are, they don't have a whole lot of health. This one, however, does have a buttload of health, so you can see him just sort of doing the rolling.
There is going to be one guy later on that I actually just went... I go sicko mode on him because I want to see if I can kill the boss before... Yeah, see, he's approaching ominously and his eyes like crackling. Yeah. So this must... Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the new move that he has. And he finishes off with a big stomp.
Yeah, let's see how that one worked out for him, Cotton.
Didn't. But yeah, there is a boss later. It's going to be like two or three episodes from now, where I basically just try to kill a boss after breaking its first bar, first shell before it puts its shell back on, and I
Right,
just
right.
like pour literally everything into it, and it's gonna be backflips forever.
I'm looking forward to that because that was one of the things I commented on at length. It's just like, I'm pretty sure this boss just has like specific phases.
Right. So the context for this is when we came to this location, we wanted to go track down the pirates that were hiding within the temple, but there was a bounded field put up, and we had to remove 2 anchors to the bounded field. This is what happens when we go to the one where Saber gets cut off.
とはいえ、英霊でも怪異でもなく、ただの人が相手となれば、今は見守るほかない。震えよ、より。
Not Ganbate. But same general idea. Well, now. I was gonna say, it feels like you can handle this a hell of a lot better when you're doing moves like that insane number.
当世の者としては相当の鋭さなのだな。離れることで分かることもあるか。だが
Probably because you're mostly focusing on not dying yourself or killing people yourself, you know. So.
悪くない剣だったぞ。弱いなりにやるではないか、より。
人相手ならこれくらいはな。
しかしだ。より、君は何故今までこれほどに剣の腕を磨いてきたのだ？乱世ならばいざ知らず、穏やかなる統制で君の剣はあまりに鋭く見える。それこそ英月の義のような戦でも起きぬ限り、かような剣は求められぬだろうに。
そうだな。だが、だとしても俺は剣を捨てては生きられない。きっとそういう風にできて、いや、なんでもない。先を急ごう。
I feel like you should have been able to piece that one together yourself, but it's useful to hear it from his mouth.
生きられない。
And then our next major point of revelation is when we proceed on further and we head to the temple with the big Buddha. And on our way out, Li Shuen attacks us.
貴様、ハグレのサーバントだろう。いえ、何故我らを襲った？
And you know, I know we like him, so I'm just gonna show off fighting him again.
Yeah, I was gonna say, at this stage of it, he's mostly just fighting you because it's hilarious.
いつでも良いぞ、より。
He's still really intimidating. Like just he moves so fucking explosively.
Yeah, you can. He's just one of those. He's one of those characters that you can tell the people who make these games really enjoy. Considering he appears so prolifically in so much stuff. Like he's been in the extra games, the Extella. He's been in Redline. He's in this. There's like the multiple versions of him in Fate Grand Order. It's very clear a lot of people who like make these games think he's very fucking cool and want him in the game.
The reality of the situation is that if you like kung fu movies at all, you basically you kind of like Li Shuen by default because he is like a living kung fu movie. Like his life is a real life kung fu movie, and it is every bit as cool as that sounds.
しかし、相当の手だれだった。
美節のしながらなかなかに鋭き拳であった。
無手であの戦いぶり。
Well, he will be later.
I mean, not in this era. He hasn't even been born yet.
いずれまたまみえる。二度は逃がさん。
ああ。次は勝つ。お？どうした、セイバー？
just commenting to myself how competitive you are again.
そろそろ落ち着いた頃かとな。ロースとの戦いに君随分と高ぶっていたからな。
高ぶる。俺が。
まさか気づいていなかったのか？はぐれのランサーにもこたびの老子にも強者と見れば君高ぶってい
Game
たろうに。
recognized game.
そうか。俺が。
まったくもうだ。これからはくれぐれも一人で流行るなよ。君はまだまだ弱いのだ。
This is an interesting thing to note there. But he's not even aware he's doing it.
英霊相手にはあまり出過ぎてくれ。
Iori, as we've always said, comes across as a very calm, collected, and controlled individual. But it seems even he has his moments.
He gets competitive, which fits entirely with you know, wanting to improve his swordsmanship and not being able to live without studying the sword. It's one of the entire loops to being a fighter is constant self-improvement. At least in both Japanese and Chinese storytelling. It's present in a lot of other storytelling traditions, but perhaps not as strongly.
仕方ない。戻って遊戯だ。遊戯のおかずは何かな？
This is pretty much more or less how it shifted previously.
Saber was just reminded of dinner. Nothing else mattered.
Yeah, they sort of abandoned the path and decided to head off. So we're back at the port where Rogue Archer hangs out, and we're going to be fighting the things here. And yeah, so this is one of those examples where the enemy is not a single foe, but like 3 with shells, and they don't regen those shells, so they're weaker. They're more weaker than like the big boss ones. They're more aggressive than their regular versions, and obviously take longer to kill. But like I said, I can't really recall if these guys have any particular new attacks. They definitely do their attacks a lot more often.
Because like from a game design perspective, it's sort of interesting, but it's we have situations like this in the normal game where we have, you know, a bunch of then about 2. It's usually 2, not 3 shelled people. But the reality of the situation is because the game puts puts enemies in front of you when you do your big moves of like playing big ult there. It's nowhere near as scaling a challenge as it otherwise might seem to be, because of like mainly the strategy would be build your meters without getting hit, and then you know you strike back using big attacks. And it's always been a thing that when you fight shelled enemies, like they have absolutely no stagger on, just beating the balls off. That's the end of that. So I mean, sure, this was an interesting Crucible fight, I guess, in that they tried to change one of the basics, but wasn't exactly a substantive change.
Yeah. I think it might just be their biggest. I think it might just be that big attack is the new one, but I don't actually ever let them do it because you're not supposed to. So we'll never see.
Like why in the world would you give the enemy the chance to play the game unless you are doing your best to figure out how they play the game? Like, it makes sense to turtle up and be defensive if you're seeing something for the first time. You're analyzing somebody's weaknesses, right? That's fine. But after you understand the problem in front of you, do not give somebody a chance to play the game. You just don't.
And now we've got evil ghosts. Leave this place.
ツバメ返し
Bleh!
合図をくれイオリ
But more importantly, it's time for Lance's Noble Phantasm.
Oh, this should be fun.
とっておきをくれてやる
Taken pretty much 1-to-1 from his epic. Fucking beautiful. No notes.
Yeah, when that thing hits, you know he's gonna be throwing it afterwards. Sorry, I just like saying that. But no, it's just that's like such an awesome attack. It's really great. Like the one where you do it with like the 3 affinity is like the more traditional depiction of it in like Fate Stay Night and other things. And I believe it's also kind of how he does it in Fate Grand Order as well. Again, like the ghost has the new attack is the charge up attack, I believe, and
Which again,
I'll be
they
damned
didn't
if
really
I
get a
let
chance
them
to
do
because like you came in fully loaded with affinity and so forth, so you just dumpstered them before they could play the game. As well,
now-
you should have.
And
Child
Dry Bats.
Snatcher, Jesus Christ.
so it's basically just drift wounds.
火は熟す出番だな
Deep cut. So
That was a good
these
one.
guys actually have a move that you'll see quite often, and it's annoying as fuck. They put out a tornado, and it is exactly as annoying as any tornado in a video game when they start doing it.
Because there's nothing you can do to deal with it except just go around it, and going around it takes a million fucking years.
I'm pretty sure they're
It's
in the
generally
tornado when they
giant.
throw it down. We'll see, but yeah, it's not much fun.
清き水よたゆたり流れ海へと至りて星をなせ絶技
You know, you mentioning Hong Kong action films has just got me like thinking about all the ones I really liked and thinking about the time when I stopped watching them, like when they were coming out historically. And I think probably the one movie that like basically just made me go, ah yeah, the genre's ruined, was the movie Hero.
Oh my god, that tornado was fucking awful. Also, I don't remember that movie, which is potentially a good thing.
I think I
reminding me?
think I saw it on a flight, and it was like it came out after Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and just watched Saber just slide. So as you can see, the tornado is annoying.
Giant, nothing you can do except go around it, and it moves like crazy.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
But like the entire concept is like this guy walks in to meet the Emperor and like I don't know if it's actually like setting it in an actual time in like Chinese history, but this guy goes in to meet the Emperor, and he's like this guy in the Imperial Palace, and he's got like this giant wall of candles between himself and the guy coming in. The guy's like telling him the story of how he became this hero that slew a bunch of dissidents and things like that. And like as they go through it, he tells the story. It's kind of a little like The Usual Suspects in that regard. Like it's a dude telling somebody else a story about like all these incidents that happened along the way to get him to this point. And of course, just much like The Usual Suspects, the story is by and large a fabrication.
Right.
And the Emperor's like, "You're here to kill me, aren't you?" Oh, I'll finish this thought once we get through all this.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
This is actually
I
a very
do want
important
to
scene.
hear the end of this.
久しいな
Because this scene is almost entirely the same, except for one added line of dialogue. See if you can guess which added line of dialogue it is.
大蛇我が剣にて払い清めて死んぜよ絶技発揮打倒
And
凄まじい。まさに思考、絶技の中の絶技。まさに幼い頃に垣間見た剣聖の技ならばこそ、破らねば立ちゆく。
And that's the line.
That is definitely the line.
少年は剣を振るう。ただひたすらに呼吸をするが如く。少年は剣を振るう。それこそが生きるよすがと言わんばかりに。少年は剣を振るう。夜が移ろいてなお届かぬ月を求めて。
伊織殿はなぜ剣の道に？やはり宮本先生に憧れてのものか？
紳士木工。少年は珍しく返答に窮し思案する。思い見るは父の影か、それとも。
幼き頃に月のような剣を見ました。理由はそれだけです。
So that's a new one as well. Instead of seeing Saber's dreams, we've just seen Iori's dreams. And now, this happens after Iori faces his own shadow and cuts away his excess.
ああ、こたびの稽古はこれでしまいだ。
お疲れ様。あ、そうだ、腕は。
この程度の所作ならどうということはない。大事ないと言っただろ。
よかった。それじゃ長屋へ戻ろっ
か。待て、イオリ。
By the way, I know there's more to what you're saying.
それは良くない。
セイバー、
君は優しさを捨ててはいけない。宣告の瞑想で君は自分にとっての余分を捨てたな。わかるぞ。私はわかる。その余分の中には優しさがあって、そしてそれはきっと君の大元をなすものだ。本来なら喜ぶべきことなのだろう。弱かった君がわずかながらも強くなったんだ。英月の義を勝ち抜くにあたり、実に喜ばしいことだ。しかしダメだ。それはダメだ。本当にそれを捨ててしまうなら、君は
セイバー、優しいか。お前は俺をそう言うのだな。
ああ、君は弱くけれど優しい人だ。君は相手の気持ちを考えることができている。それは戦士、剣士には必要ないことかもだけど、尊ぶべきことだと私は思う。
セイバー、確かに俺は相手の考えを伺っているよ。常にそうだ。いつだって俺は相手の気持ちを思いながら振る舞っている。 だが違う。違うんだ、セイバー。そうする理由は、俺が優しいからではないと思う。
イオリ。
至極単純。もっとわかりやすい理由だよ。そう。単純だ。すべては俺が勝つためなんだ。刀を振るい勝つためだ。技を用いて殺すためだ。正確に正確に寸分の狂いなく眼前の敵を確実に仕留めるため。理解は俺にとっては必要な工程の一つ。敵味方の区別をつける前に俺は相手を理解する。いつでも殺せるように。結局つまらぬ未熟者の無分別だ。だから言うところの優しさとは違うと思う。確かに俺はたった今余分を捨てた。そういう覚悟をした。単に余分な癖、愚かな無分別を捨てただけだ。牽制にも並ぶかもしれん魔人たちを相手取るなら、もはや俺ごときの思考は余分だ。邪魔だ。ならばそんなものは切り捨てて、俺は俺を切り替える。ただそれだけのことだ。
それだけ？
ああ、それだけだ。お前とこの義に勝利するためだ。
There's a lot of weird shades of the TF2 sniper in here. Be polite, be efficient, have a plan to kill everyone you meet.
か。君はそういうのか、イオリ。
ねえ、二人とも。
So that version went on a fair bit longer than the previous time they
Yeah,
talked
no
about.
joke. Saber is actually really trying hard to be empathetic rather than it feeling a little bit tacked on, and Iori actually argues back for a long time, which is he does that once or twice with Saber in the main game, but nowhere near this early.
And the way the music just fucking kicks in when he starts going, no, I just get to know people so that it's easier for me to kill them.
Understand what they're going to do in advance, so it's easier to predict what they're going to do in advance. It makes it easier to kill them when it happens.
It's just like, Saber's just like, yeah, you really don't belong in this timeline, man. So yeah, I'll talk some more about Hero now, just to sort of finish the thought.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
So the action sequences in it are pretty decent. Like, each story is like its own enclosed action sequence. It's quite nice, but sort of at the end, the Emperor is like, "You're here to kill me, aren't you?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, here we go." Like, here it comes out, and the guy admits, "Yeah, our plan." I think they do it again via a flashback. It has been quite a while since I've seen it. Was basically they would allow me to kill them so that I would get this one amazing shot at like killing you. And it's like, how did you tell this was my intent? And the fucking Emperor just goes, the flames gave you away. And that's literally all the explanation we get as to how the Emperor was able to tell that this guy was going to get him. And that's when your brain first starts going, oh no. And then the Emperor's like, so, are you going to do it? Will you try to kill me? And the guy goes, no, I can see you're an amazing Emperor. Keep in mind, the Emperor has done nothing the entirety of this fucking movie. And the guy basically just leaves and gets arrowed to death. Like, and I watched it and I went, oh no! It's all it is propaganda now, isn't it? And I just basically, like, any action, like, action movie made from that region in the aftermath of that I just don't watch now.
Yeah, I mean, it all
Golden
being
Age is gone.
propaganda
It's
is
not coming back.
absolutely a huge thing. Like a lot. I'm the older side of being a millennial, and we all grew up watching Jackie Chan and so forth. Even the Americanized ones aren't nearly as good as his older stuff and so forth. But it's basically impossible to watch a Jackie Chan movie anytime in the last at least 10, probably closer to 15 years. Not because he's gotten worse at his own formula or anything. Quite the opposite. It's still very recognizable and technically very well done. But it's all really obvious CCP propaganda nowadays, and it's just like, bro, I liked it better when you were just flipping out and throwing stuff at people. Like, we really didn't need your formula to be any more complicated than that.
And yeah, and so this is post-kidnapping, after we've gone to Chiamon's base and found he's not there anymore. We return and talk to Zheng and Musashi, and we talk about how, like, our two sort of ports of call come from movements being made by both Shousetsu and Dorothea's forces. And originally we chose to go pursue Shousetsu, and we bumped into Rogue Saber along the way, and he was like, oh yeah, I bumped into those two, they were heading towards the port. And that was basically all we got. This time we're going to go and see what Dorothea's up to, and see what's going to happen. And it's actually, now it's, generally speaking, it's like, you might think, okay, well that's objectively like the wrong path to take. From the player's perspective, we know they're not allied. We know Shousetsu and Shiomon have been working together.
There's no way for Iori to know that.
Yeah, there's no way for Iori to know that, but that's like generally just how it makes sense to the player. But we're going in to pursue this now will actually give us way more information than going in the other path. It's actually really kind of good in a lot of ways. So yeah, we have to basically go down this. And so I'm showing this particular Grail font battle because it's going in a different direction. So technically it's a different one to all the other ones, and we get to pull Rogue Lancer up with us as well.
This, I'm not 100% certain of it just yet, but the... Okay, sure.
They always do that.
Yeah,
Every single time they're like,
fine.
remember this mechanic.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at the way the ley lines were oriented. As you're approaching the main conflict line, because it's a unusually narrow choke point over there. Oh, did you just kick up the difficulty level?
Yeah, and I'll kick it up to Demon as well. I just wanted to see like just how it goes. And so generally speaking, on the font battles,
kind of stomped all over a lot of those Crucible fights. So this is a really narrow approach. Like that was what was messing with me. It's just like, hold on.
Now, one other thing about the Crucible battles is they actually also have like recommended levels for doing them. So there are ones that are actually much harder at the moment. I actually discovered one of them is actually like level 99 recommended. So
okay, well, no holds barred on that one, clearly.
Yeah, it should be fun to check out and see what's going on with that one.
Okay, cool. That'll let you get Rogue Lancer. Have fun with that, dick.
Yeah, the sort of, I would say, probably the only problem with jacking up the difficulty is when you're playing as, like, as will happen later when you play as Lancer fighting Rogue Lancer, and then Musashi fighting Samson, Zhou fighting Samson. You get very limited resources to work with, and the enemy hits just like a million times harder. So you really have to have your game on So if you're silly and you up the difficulty, you can't change it once you're in that sort of sequence, I don't think. Yeah, you gotta be careful. And I did end up dropping the difficulty back down again as the game sort of gets closer to where the proper level is.
The primary thing that I would be concerned about in a situation like that is honestly just the difficulty going to a point where your largest enemy is less the adversary you're facing and more combat fatigue.
Yeah, and so it's like we don't want everybody at home to be stuck watching the same thing for 100 years of me just like trying to knock over this one guy, because when it comes down to it, we have seen pretty much the entirety movesets of everybody. It's hard to say that it's hard to say everyone wants to see more of the same, only it takes longer and hits harder.
Right, you know.
And I spend more time eating rice balls.
Okay. For a minute there, I felt like the other shoe was going to drop on one of those revenants, just like hitting you from behind for some reason. A weird sense of foreboding.
That's just ghosts for you. They always bring with them a big sense of, oh no, someone's gonna get ghosted.
Anywho, but yes, like I'm a little sad that the Grail fronts here, or whatever the heck they're supposed to be called. You said it not 2 minutes ago, and I've already forgotten.
I just call them font battles.
Font battles. Okay, fine. I'm a little sad that these font battles are generally so restricted in their usage, like, because this is a really interesting mechanic, and the way you're pushing forward with Saber and like pushing the entire front, being really careful about how the two of you push forward is actually really interesting to me.
Yeah.
But it feels like they can't put too much complexity into these font battles, simply because you know, like, they're not exactly a core competency of the player. Like, the core competency of the player is this: it's the Yakuza style combat.
Yeah. I kind of would like to see a game that was a lot more of these sorts of things. And as they may take stuff they've learned here for different games as well, because we don't know what they're gonna do with Dynasty Warriors Origins and things like that. We may see some funny things like this. We might not too.
Consume 2 affinity bars to spawn another unit. Simplest question ever.
And then you just, you know, you spend the money, you spend the rice balls, you spend the desserts, and you can throw someone in. And that's like, you know, and honestly at this point he's just kind of almost an afterthought, but it does make it easier to catch like all of the locations, so that's good. I
mean, yeah, that was sort of one of the reasons why I mentioned it, is like it's always cool and fun to get the extra help on these battles, but Rogue Lancer in this situation, at least, like, if you've got him, you've got this fight in the bag. Like, there's nothing that's gonna stop you here. This is over the top. War enemies.
Just chestoing.
Held on just long enough to do a final big attack.
I appreciate that.
Like 2 seconds left. It's just like, I'm going out with a bang.
That's a hell of an explosion too. I can't imagine what a lot of those guys are going to be like when they're at, like, full stats. Because I haven't, you know, like, they take a lot of point investments to max out. And probably what I will do is when the next new game, like, plus run goes towards the finale and I do the DLC, I'll probably just grab all of the, the skill up gems and everything I got and just try and stuff them all inside. Yeah, well, there's no enemies now to worry about apparently, so we can just.
Like I'd always be suspicious about this, but at this point, unless they're opening an entirely new front, like there's not enough space to do
ここに
it.
も南蛮船か。かような船であれば大海をさえ渡るか。
船乗りの腕と天運次第さ。嵐、海賊。
That's a nuanced response.
Yeah, I was actually watching a video the other day about how Zheng took on Coyette, Frederick Coyette, and ended up taking Formosa. And it's again interesting. It was an interesting battle, but at one point the Ming and the Dutch were going to ally, but the guy who was supposed to go and rendezvous with them. No, sorry, it wasn't the Ming. The other fellas who were taking over. Or was it? Yeah, it was the other fellas who were taking over. Who were the Qing?
The Dutch and whoever
Yeah.
went ahead of or came after the Ming. I don't remember that dynasty either, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I've said it before, but it's slipped my brain here. But apparently
Yeah.
the guy who was supposed to do it just got lost. They quite literally said he went on an odyssey, which is like that's that's never a good sign when you.
Yeah,
send someone off to
there's a lot of usage behind that word. That sort of crap happened a lot more often than people might give it credit for. In, 2020X when we have GPS and everything is really well organized. But like I've gone on little rants like this in previous Let's Plays about the difference between even like in war terms of like the very high morale oorah sort of Jovian wars that we think of in like Napoleonic wars and so forth, and the highly organized meat grinders that we collectively refer to as Clausewitzian wars, because they more or less followed the structure of Karl von Clausewitz's On War. And the thing is about Clausewitzian conflicts is that they absolutely require a huge level of organization that already exists, roads and lots of infrastructure and all of this other nonsense. And in situations where that doesn't exist, you know, where a cat could get lost, you can just get lost for 2 months. That's always a thing that can happen.
Yeah, my other favorite story from it is that they were actually apparently planning on replacing Frederick as the governor of Formosa because they didn't think he was doing a very good job and he was being too heavy-handed, so close to like China's mainland. And so they sent a replacement who turned up probably halfway through the siege, having missed one of the warships that was like forced to evacuate from the area, and sent out a message to say you're being replaced, and then realized what was actually going on, and before the messenger even got back, left again.
Dorothea thinks this is the funniest thing she's seen all week.
まあ、私に貸し付くならば話は別だけれど。いいえ、やっぱり無理ね。理性と知性を失った獣とドロテア・コイエットが組むなんて。
Bro, just doing the big underestimation of G1.
ならば、ハイカーを動かした理由は
Why indeed?
あなたに教えて何かいいことがあるかしら。
少なくともこの場で切り合わずに済む。
へえ、そう。いずれ戦う相手だもの。以前の続きをしても構わないわよ、私は。
気が合うな。美しき瞳をした偉人の娘。
あら、ありがとう。素敵な東洋の剣士様。
These two assholes.
少しだけよろしくないのよね。
海がやけに騒がしい。嵐が来るやもしれん。
Saying a lot with very little there.
地脈、霊脈、そういうものがあるでしょ。流れる魔力に異常が見受けられるのよ。東から西へ、 膨大な魔力が流れ込んでいる。お侍さん、宮本伊織。あなたは正規の魔術師じゃないでしょうからわからないでしょうけど。
Neither is your servant.
私にとっては目を見張るような状態よ。
死脈。
東よ。ここよりずっと東。そこに陣取った何者かが神奈川方面に向けて大魔術を行使しようとしている。
大魔術とは
So yeah, so this is the big difference, is that because we actually engage with Dorothea, whose experience with magic is far more pronounced than literally everybody else involved in the war, we're able to get an idea that actually something is coming. We're not entirely sure what it is, but at least there's a forewarning that something is coming.
Yeah, she's more or less foreshadowing the big climax of the game.
The foreshadowing that you get when you go the Rogue Saber way is mostly just the way that the men that we later learn working under Tsuchimikado are sort of being much more prolific and spreading out in certain regions. That's very light foreshadowing that doesn't really tell us a whole lot, but this one's very much the exact opposite.
Right, yeah, Dorothea is just flat out saying, yeah, there's some serious bullcrap happening, and it's enough that I don't want to try to advance my own goals by killing you right here. It's this other thing going on is genuinely a bigger problem than both of you put together.
先生気をつけなさいな。
やられたな。もののけを押し付けて退散か。
何？簡単だ。
But it still gives us a good idea of where to go next, which is always nice.
Right. She specifically told them the locus of the difficulty, which again makes perfect sense from her perspective. Either Iori and Saber go over there and solve the issue. Great. Now she doesn't have to do it. Or they go and get screwed up. Cool. Then they probably weakened whatever happened over there, and she was gonna have to soil her hands with it anyway.
Yeah. Well, there will be a digression later. Probably in the next episode, I'd say. Dorothy doesn't just sort of sit around and do nothing. She's going to go in pursuit of this as well. So we're going to actually see what she was getting up to when the shit hit the fan for everybody else.
Right. That is one thing you have to give her. Like, she's kind of a jackass, and this isn't really her place. This isn't really her fight. She's really sort of appropriating this crisis for her own ends. But she is never idle. Like she is not like the stereotypical plotter figure in this entire thing. Like, yeah, she's plotting, she's scheming, she's also always out there hustling.
Every day.
Every day.
She's been enhancing the family business. You know, she's been working hard. She's been, you know, doing far better for the Koyet name than her dad will eventually do.
She's lying, we'll deal with it when it comes up. Yeah, I mean... Good question.
It's like, whatever.
A good question.
なんだいそれ。人の善も悪もどうでもいいと？
笑ってくれるな。師匠にははっきりせんかと叱られたものだ。
わかるなそれ。けど君のそういうところ私は好きだ。
なんだ。
This conversation's funnier with the context that Iori is like.
By the way, I evaluate everybody with the idea of killing them, and Saber's like, you don't make distinctions. Like, yeah, about that.
It's like next to everybody's head is like a little rating of how easy it would be to like cut them down.
He's literally seeing like the challenge markers that you get in bad RPGs.
ドロテアを信ずる君は
There's a fantastic sort of thing when they put Iori in Fate Granddaughter. They often have lines that they can get, like you can sort of get from the characters in a sort of just like reading, and they have different lines depending on different other servants that you might also have in your collection. Iori has one for like a vast swath of the different servants in there, and it's all like really strong fighters. All get this one line from him, and he just remarks that Caldia has a lot of really strong fighters, huh?
猶予もない
And he you know, like, and his voice is very similar to the one he has when he's talking about cutting people down. And there's one particular servant named Mandracado, who is a sort of a smaller character in the legends of Charlemagne and his knights and everything like that. He's a fellow who basically pursues Roland's sword. Oh, and in Fate Granddaughter, he's a bit of a he's a bit of a loner. He doesn't really. He's a little embarrassed about the kind of person he used to be. Like, he doesn't really want to get into fights. He'd rather just be left alone and things like that. And he's one of the characters that Iori is listed out as it. And it resulted in someone drawing this wonderful picture of Mandracado hurriedly walking away as Iori is following him. Iori going, "Yo, how big is that sword?" And Mandracado going, "Tiny, leave me alone." It's all I ever wanted was just like, and someone drew that. I was just like, thank God someone reads my mind. Thank God someone out there actually is just like exactly the same terrible sense of humor I do.
Oh my lord, that's pretty fantastic.
Mandracado's introduction is fantastic in Fate Granddaughter as well, because he's introduced during this one particular adventure where like an entire like Lost Belt is just swarmed with like summoned heroes, but because the Lost Belt is full of like absolutely super strong warriors, most of them have been defeated and destroyed, and and there are very few remaining, and Mandracado is one of them, and he's kind of like, he's not sure what to do with himself because it all seems a bit insurmountable, but at the same time he's a hero. He still wants to do what's right. And eventually he's aware they're the Chaldea people are coming, and so he steps out and says, "Are you my master?" Which is, you know, the fate line.
Right.
Everyone loves the fate line. But he's saying it to like the guy who's in charge of Chaldea, who is this guy named Gordolf Muzak, who's just like a really fat guy who doesn't really have a talent. And he just goes, "No?" And Mandracado's just like, "I'm leaving." And you're like, "No, come back!" Because he's just embarrassed himself so badly. He's just like, "I'm gone. I'm gonna go hide under a rock for the rest of this time." It's
Doesn't play there's no coming back from that one. Just self-owned. I just owned myself forever.
That's just the kind of character Mandracado is. But he has a fucking amazing like hero sequence in that entire thing as well. Like that entire like story arc is like fucking fantastic. Just one of the best written ones. Because I've told you how much of a piece of shit Jason is from Jason and the Argonauts. They managed to give him an amazing heroic redemption arc. And at no point whatsoever does he behave any differently to how he behaves.
Honestly, I'm glad you specified Jason and the Argonauts, because I'm gonna be super real. When you first said that, I thought you were gonna start talking about Jason Voorhees, and I'm just like, no fucking way is he in Fate. No way.
Oh man, there is no way he would ever get put in, because they don't tend to do crossovers outside of like non-Type Moon productions.
Yeah.
But goddamn, like. They definitely have done a lot of references to like slasher films and things like that. In particular, they did an entire like summer event which was about like horror movies. It was pretty good. Even managed to get a Shining reference in too.
Here's Iori!
No, well, it was Christopher Columbus chopping through the door with his beard.
Almost as terrifying.
Yeah, because Christopher Columbus's beard is like another entire thing to talk about. Like, Christopher Columbus is another character who, like, people will probably just be like, excuse me when I say he's one of, like, my favorite characters, but it's not because he's a good person. He's actually, unrepentantly, unequivocally a shitbag. But he's a shitbag in a way that's really interesting because he basically has all of the, like, shonen aspect of working together and believing in like working hard and training and never giving up on your dreams, etc., but it's all bent towards like completely self-serving interests.
Yep.
And it's
entirely on point with the IRL Christopher Columbus.
And you see people online complaining about it, and it's just like, dude, this is like the most characterful you're probably ever going to get a depiction of this guy, and it's actually like, it's hilariously good. So it's like, please, just like stop whinging. He's really fucking awesome.
Yeah, but you need to understand, like from a writing perspective, how incredibly clever that inversion is.
Oh yeah. Like Fate has a lot of things like that. Like if we're even now kind of saying with Iori himself, he's not quite the protagonist we all thought he was.
No, of course not. Right? Like he if in any other context, like we've basically got Iori basically became the dude from American Psycho today. Like that's what happened here.
That's our protagonist, ladies and gentlemen. We've just discovered that there's something very fucking deeply wrong with him.
Like, please be glad that business cards are not a thing that exists in this period. Otherwise. Damn.
Also, be thankful that Huey Lewis is not
Huey Lewis hasn't been born yet. Though if you're
I've just got this mental image of Iori in a raincoat with like Shousetsu sitting on a couch.
And Iori goes and finds a fire axe. It's just like
no, it's just another katana. He just goes and gets like a pair of katanas out from behind the thing. Oh dear. But yeah, so now we're getting into the part where we rescue Kaya from Lancer, and because we've gone down this different path and we're armed with different pieces of information, we're actually going to be getting a lot of those same sequences we got before, but different. So that's going to be next time, followed by a lot of digressions of what other characters were up to during all of this stuff. So, up in the last Robo Kai.
And I have been Cool Guy.
And we'll see y'all next time for more Fate Samurai Remnant.